Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is still currently June. Technically, it's June the 12th, but doing the show for tomorrow, June 13th. I misspoke on the show earlier today. I said it was no NBA action on for the whole weekend. I guess I just looked at it wrong. I knew Game 5 was going to be Saturday. I looked at it wrong. A couple people corrected me in the comments. So shout out to y'all for, listening to the show and catching that. My apologies on that. So we'll go through the NBA game for tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. For today, probably when you're watching this, and we'll get into the 4 WNBA games. There's 4 games on for tomorrow. It's a good slate of games. The World Cup, which I'll be watching, but I don't bet on the World Cup. So this is a big fun sports day. My niece and my nephew also will be 3 and 11 this month. So we're doing a joint birthday party for them tomorrow. Then my homies coming over to watch the game, which I haven't seen in a while. So it's gonna be a good Saturday, man. It's a good Saturday. Excited to, see what Saturday has in store for me. And that's why I'm doing the show a little earlier. So let's jump into it. Quick recap of yesterday, or I guess today, depending on of June 12th, I guess I'll say. The Toronto and Washington game it didn't go the way that I thought it would. Then it did go the way that I thought it would, and we ended up 2-0 on those games. Marina crash out, Mabry, over 2.5 threes. She ended up hitting 5. It came late, third quarter, specifically fourth quarter. She got hot in that fourth quarter, and they come all the way back and take the lead on a Brittany Sykes layup, and then they give up. Brittany Sykes actually wins the jump ball. And it ends up in Sonia Citron's hands. She hits a fadeaway, like Jordan fadeaway. I'm talking about it looked cash. I don't think anybody's hit a fadeaway like that for the Mystics since probably Elena Deladon a couple years ago. That was crazy. But 2-0 on that game. I also talked about Michelle Onyenwere. She crushed her points line, man. I didn't play it, but I'm hopeful somebody, heard that analysis and they enjoyed it and, made some money on that as well. And then the last game, which is on right now, it's about halftime between Seattle and Golden State. I didn't bet that one, but I liked over, and it's gonna be close. About 78 points scored in the first half. That total was 157.5. So we'll see what that looks like. I also wanted to take Seattle. I didn't get the chance to put it in, but Seattle plus the points. Seattle first half is something we really got to keep an eye on. They have been hot in the first half, and they covered again. Down by 2 at the end of the first half. I think it was tied at the end of the first quarter. So let's jump into it for tomorrow, man. Start off with Jackson, your AI sports betting tool. You guys check Jackson out if you guys have not. I know a lot of people have. So Jackson's the AI sports betting tool, of course. If you guys have watched the show, you know what it is already. Save yourself some time on your analysis. Just fact check some things. Ask it to give you analysis, that type of thing. But a prompt for tomorrow, I asked Jackson to analyze the June 13th slate, because Jackson's been doing good with this prompt. Analyze the June 13th NBA slate, the WNBA slate, to identify the highest value opportunities for point spreads and player props. For point spreads, highlight teams with a strong against the spread record when facing similar matchup variables such as rest advantage, home away splits, or recent offensive efficiency surges. For player props, focus on lines that show a significant discrepancy against recent 5-game rolling averages, tracking changes in usage rate due to injuries, favorable defensive matchups, specifically targeting exploitative matchups and points, rebounds, or assists. Please provide the data, underlying metrics, and reason for each recommendation. So Jackson likes first the Indiana Fever minus the 10.5 against the Connecticut Sun tomorrow. This line is available on, it looks like Polymarket has it. I'm pretty sure, I think it was 10.5 on all books though. The analytical reasoning says that the Fever are massive favorites here, and for good reason. They enter the matchup with a dominant money line price at minus 426, reflecting their status as one of the league's elite teams. The Connecticut Sun, meanwhile, have struggled to find consistency and are catching double digits points at home. The Fever's offensive efficiency has been surging, and they have the firepower to cover the 10.5 point spread, getting plus money it's plus 108 on the spread. It says getting plus money on a minus 426 money line at minus 10.5 is elite value. I gotta reevaluate that. The Suns simply lack the defensive discipline to slow down Indiana's high-powered attack. The next one, I'll give you guys one side and give you guys one player prop as well. So the player prop, the one that Jackson likes the most, is Olivia Miles against his Aces defense. We're going to jump into that in a second. Over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So Olivia Miles has been on an absolute tear, clearing the 27.5 line in 100% of her last 5 games with a staggering mean of 33.8. Her 10-game rolling average of 29.3 is nearly 2 full units higher than tonight's line. She's been the engine of the Lynx offense, and facing the Aces defense that ranks 4th in defense versus position for this prop, her recent volume is simply too high to ignore. At -117 on DraftKings, this is a premier value play on the board. So Olivia Miles over her points, rebounds, and assists at 27.5. So this prompt typically gives me a lot, right? There's sides for both of the other games. There's actually sides for all 3 of the other games. And then there's also 1, 2, 3 more player props as well. So this actually returns a lot. And then you can just kind of go through using this prompt, figure out what you like the most without doing any analysis, just reading what Jackson likes. That's not my style. But if you guys, need to save time, do that. I spend tons of time, handicapping these games, as you guys can probably tell. Let's jump into it. So first up, we'll start with the New York Knickerbockers and the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio is laying 5.5. Total sitting at 216.5. It's a couple 5s out there too. Like you can get a 5 on Caesars, you can get a 4.5 on Hard Rock if people have access to that. But 5.5 is the consensus. So what did we see in game 4? Well, first we got both of the plays right. We took the Knicks team total under, and we took the full game under, and it actually looked like it had no chance of winning when the Spurs had 76 points at halftime. But that Knicks team total did seem like it would stay under. They only had 49 at halftime, so I was like, well, I'll go 1-1. And then the Spurs scored 30 points in the second half. The Knicks scored 58 and win the game by 1 point. Lot to be kind of discussed, and I'm actually not gonna get into all of it. Did I watch the whole thing from start to finish? Of course. Is there a lot to break down in the game? Yes, there is. The question you really got to ask yourself though is are the Knicks done? I'm sorry, are the Spurs done? Do they just pack it in here? I think by watching 4 games in this series, in my personal opinion, I didn't place a future bet on either team to win the series. I told you guys before game number 1. I've been screaming this since the Spurs were playing against OKC in game number 4 or 5 because the Knicks had swept. That I thought Knicks series price as far as series spread as far as them +1.5 games would be a winner, and that's already cash. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm giving you guys this with unbiased opinion on both. I don't care if the Spurs win, I don't care if the Knicks win. Either way, my Lakers aren't gonna win, so I don't care. I do feel like San Antonio is the better team. I feel like the Knicks are the more resilient team. That's what it feels like we've seen so far. I mean, I'm granted you don't want to go down 29 points, but San Antonio is the younger team between the two. The Dylan Harpers and the Stephon Castles and the even Wemby's and the De'Aaron Fox never being in this big of a moment. We saw him kind of have a blunder in the end of game 4 with all the turnovers in the second half, and the layup that he tried on OG, and it was just you really gave that game away. Outside of the Knicks, having to make some shots as well, they really gave that game away. So all of that being said, if I'm betting the game, and I'm not even going to look towards props at all, but I do think Dylan Harper is just that guy in my opinion, and I think he may have some of the minutes. I think that the question that I posed to you guys and that I posed to myself is San Antonio done? Can you psychologically overcome the deficit, losing the 29-point lead to go down 3-1? Do you come home and roll over in this game and Knicks win the game? I don't think so. I know this is a young team for the Spurs, but the Spurs have absolutely kind of dominated. And let me just pull it up real quick. I didn't pull this all the way up. The one thing I did pull up I wanted to share with you guys is that I looked at teams that blew a 15-point lead in their previous game in the finals, and this only happened so they had a 15-point lead or more. And the reason why I use 15 is because it gave me the largest sample. Of course, the Spurs are the first team to give up a 29-point lead. They're actually one of the only teams to give up a 20-point lead as well. So I looked at teams that, gave up a 15-point lead or more, but then they're home favorite, specifically in the finals. 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the number. covering by an average of 3.9 points per game. They're winning by an average of 10, and the line is right about 5.6, which is right where this line is, 5.5 points. I think the Spurs are the right side. I think the Spurs early are the right side. Real quick, if we just look at, let me just look. I didn't look at this, but so much handicapping I feel like I need to do. So we look at the Spurs for this series. Game 1, they had a 27 to 19 point lead at the end of the first quarter. Game 2, they had a 34 to 25 point lead at the end of the first quarter. Game 3 in New York City, they had a 33 to 22 point lead at the end of the first quarter. In Game 4, 41 to 22 point lead at the end of the first quarter. They have not been as great in the second quarter. The Knicks typically, kind of figure it out. But I think San Antonio at home first quarter minus the 2.5 is the best number that you can get. San Antonio first half minus the 3, other best number you could get. I think those are both winners in this game. I don't think the Spurs are going to roll over. The comments came out from Wemby, saying that they, were going to be the team to come back down 3-1. I don't know about all that. Like, I don't think the Knicks are going to roll over. I do think there's an emotional letdown. Whenever you come back down 29, you see Karl Anthony Towns crying, him saying in the media session today, can't spell OG, can't spell God without OG, and kind of laughing it off like that stuff tends to bite you a little bit. We saw Wemby, cry, become very emotional after beating OKC, and then of course they end up losing Game 1 at home to the Knicks in the finals. So when it's emotional like that, I typically want to buy on the team that's not, that's going to have a little bit more, be a little bit more locked in. At least early in the game. So San Antonio first quarter, San Antonio first half, minus 2.5, minus the 3 are the top bets for me in that game. Don't really have too much of a look on the total. As much as I want to bet this one over, because we cashed the under in the last game, I don't think I could get there with the over. And really what it's predicated on is that we see both of these teams have really good offensive quarters and then really bad offensive quarters. So it wouldn't surprise me if it started off super high and then things got slower, or vice versa. If it started off super slow and then things picked up. But I think the total set about right where it should be. That game barely went under 213 on a 216.5 total, barely went under the number in the last one. I kind of feel like we got lucky a little bit, even though it was supposed to be an under game. Not really going to touch the total in this one. I like San Antonio first quarter, first half. All right. That is the NBA. Let's transition over to the W. So first up, we have the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Let me just double check the injury report, make sure nobody else got added. It looks like right now that yeah, all right, I got everything right. All right, so let's go to the W. We have get to my notes. We got Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark listed as probable. And then this is interesting. I'm going to actually talk about her in just a second, but Anisha Morrow is off the report for the Connecticut Sun, and Brittany Griner is also off the report for the Connecticut Sun as well. So you got a full front court for this Connecticut Sun team. We look at the Indiana Fever. They've even been profitable on the road, just 2-3 straight up and against the number on the road. They're coming off back-to-back wins, but they haven't covered in their last 3 games. They only 1-4 ATS in their last 5 games. This Fever team, this graphic says that they're 4th in defensive rating. Those defensive rating numbers are absolutely misleading, in my opinion. This is not a really good defense right now. Giving up, what was it? Sydney Taylor scored 30 points, just 2 nights ago. I'm gonna be brief, man. Connecticut, I know that, look at their full game numbers. You can see over here, offensive rating worst, second worst defensive rating, points per game, not scoring a lot, but they have been covering numbers. So this is the time of the season where, you see these teams play, 11, 12 games now. And you kind of got to start looking at, last 5 game sample, I think just a tad bit, which is what I have on my spreadsheet. Connecticut has not been as bad. They've lost 4 in a row, yes, but they've covered 3 of their last 4. And it's the cleanest injury report that we've seen all season. You got both teams coming off an overtime game, right? Connecticut was in Toronto and lost that game in overtime. And then Indiana, of course, was at home and had to go to overtime with Chicago of all teams. So, I think Connecticut's the right side. I looked at these 2 teams when they match up. Just going back to last season, Indiana has won 3 straight, but Connecticut's actually covered 4 in a row when these 2 teams have matched up. And 3 of which they were getting double digits. So I think Connecticut is the right side. I can't leave double digits with the Fever on the road. As far as the total goes, both teams have been playing a few more overs recently. Connecticut over in 4 straight games, which their last game versus Toronto went to overtime, but even in regulation, it would have went over. Indiana's coming off a 114-point game in overtime where they gave up 106. And I was looking at double-digit road favorites coming off an overtime game. It's only happened twice in the WNBA, and they've both cleared over the total by 14.5 points on the average total of 169.5. So very similar to this line. I also have a 58% trend towards the over on 150 game sample size as well. That's 5-2 to the over this season. Not gonna get into the details of that one, but another over trend. So Connecticut and over for me. Yeah, I got a couple more actually, but let's transition over real quick to Outlier. A lot of unpopular play here. I don't think a lot of people are like this, but if I'm looking at player props, there's one that I want to target, and it's really based on opportunity, right? Looking at Anisha Morrow, we cast her double-double early in the season a couple times, but her boards is 11.5, and it's juiced to the under, I think, on most books, but I did feel like I started to see real quick. Let's just look at this real quick. So minus 102 on Caesars, DraftKings, Sleeper, FanDuel still got it at plus money. I actually like Anisha Morrow under her 11.5 boards, not over, under her 11.5 boards. And you look at her last 4 games and you say, dang, Chris, why? Like she's had 13 or more in 4 straight games. Where here's the reason why. It's really based on the whole front court being back, right? This will be only the 7th game she's played with Aaliyah Edwards when she's been healthy, who's a hell of a rebounder herself. If we go here, we look at games with player and we go Aaliyah Edwards, we had her in, and we look at this season. You can see here that her rebound prop goes, she's only over in 2 of her 6 games right here, right? 33%, averaging right at 9. So she's only over in 2 of these games. And the other thing I looked at was, that was the big thing. So she's under in 4 of her 6 games. You can see here with Aaliyah Edwards in those 6 games, Morrow averaged just 9 rebounds. I talked about that already, and which is nearly 4 under her season average. She's only played 1 game this season. This game right here against Portland, where she has played with Brittany Griner and Aaliyah Edwards, which we can go down here and just add Brittany Griner, and that game will populate right here. She had 12 rebounds in that game. We know this, the Portland, one of the worst rebounding teams in the WNBA. Just go through and look the box scores. They don't have the greatest rebounders on that team with Meg Gustafson trying to hold it down there. And then you got to look at Indiana, right? Give up the 4th fewest rebounds in the W. They give up the 2nd fewest offensive rebounds in the W, and they give up the fewest to her position as well. And she also hasn't played in a week. If we just go back and we clear this and we look at, the last game she played was on the 5th, tomorrow will be the 13th. So we're not even sure she's going to, be able to maintain this type of workload. And I would think that she wouldn't, being that, they got the whole front court back. So I like Anisha Morrow under. I think it'll be a very unpopular play, but under her 11.5 boards tomorrow. See where the line goes. We can get a 12.5. It ticks up. I'll be looking at that as well. She a hell of a rebounder. I just don't think that it's over for tomorrow. All right. So that's that game. It took me a long time to get through that, but over Connecticut plus the points over, and Anisha Morrow under her 11.5 boards would be my thought process on that game. All right. Hit the like, subscribe, boost the algo, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys are betting to. Leave it in the comment section. You tailing? You got your own bets? What are you guys playing for tomorrow? Let me know. And let's keep going. So next one up is Minnesota and Las Vegas. Game of the day, man. Red hot game. I think both teams come in pretty healthy. I know that Minnesota still be without Fee and Dorka Juhas, but they should have everybody else. And the Aces should also be pretty healthy. They got Kennedy Carter back in that last game in Portland as well. So this game is, let me see what the line is right now. At the time of this recording, it is, I think it's still 4.5. I mean, still 2.5. Honestly, I don't really expect it to move too much. 2.5. Looks like Aces catches some steam. They moving to 3.5, 4.5 on FanDuel. So they have taken some money against this Minnesota team, and the total has only started to go up 130, 173.5, looks like 174.5 on a couple books. DraftKings still got it at 173.5 as well. So you got the two hottest teams in the W, man. Look at all the green in this, in this graphic. Minnesota, second best offensive rated team behind only this Las Vegas Aces team. Aces were number 2 in offensive rating before putting up 105 points against Portland in that last game. Defensive rating, Minnesota has been the better defensive team. They've been the best net rating team as well, scoring the second most points and giving up the fewest points in the WNBA. Man, this is a coin flip type game, with the point spread being 2.5, 3.5 on a neutral floor. This is probably, a pick 'em type game. And I feel like you kind of got to agree with that. What I'm not going to do, and I keep saying this, I'm not betting against Minnesota. I haven't lost money fading Minnesota because I'm not going to bet against them. They're 10-2 straight up, 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 8 in a row. And defensively, they've been great. I kind of talked about that. They've given up 84 points or less in 8 straight games. It's their first road game after 3 straight home games. And they do have a 2-day rest advantage in this game as well. That kind of leans itself to Minnesota. If they're catching 4.5 against anybody right now, this is this super hot team. Not that Aces aren't, because the Aces are 9-3 straight up on the season. They've won 5 in a row as well. We know what Asia Wilson can do. Becky Hammond has the team playing really, really hard right now. I didn't think that they were going to cover. I thought there was a look ahead spot in the Portland game, and they said, nah, we got this. I think it was Chelsea Gray who hit career high 8 threes. He had 29 points. Like, it's kind of crazy. Minnesota, I don't expect all that to fly though. Not with just the way that they play defense. Last season, Minnesota actually beat the Aces 3 of the 4 matchups, and we saw 3 of the 4 go over the total as well. I kind of think that this one starts off with a bunch of points, like first quarter over, first half over. Those numbers aren't currently available right now, but I kind of think those are at play. And then I think the game slows down in the second half. I think we see, some of the shot making start to not go in. But first quarter over, to me, feels like the right plays. This is a Commissioner's Cup game. Both teams, of course, are undefeated in Commissioner's Cup play. If I'm looking at a player prop in this one, it's Kayla McBride. So real quick, if we go back over the outlier, and I think I'll skip all the player props that I was looking at for the other games as far as showing them to you guys, because I don't want the show to be too long. But if we go back over the player props real quick and we look at Kayla McBuckets, her 3-point prop, it's 1.5 kind of juice right now, which means that it's going to continue to only go up. Let's see. Yeah, 1.5 minus 146. Yep, this is what I wrote in my notes. Minus 146. If you got Fanatic, you can get minus 145. And then already minus 161 on DraftKings. So is it a ladder spot? I think so, man. Kayla McBuckets over, you can see in 3 straight games, which I don't really focus on, the hit rate part of it. But I do focus on where she scores the basketball. She gets 38% of her points via the above the break 3. She's taken 6.2 attempts in her last 5 games, which we can come down here. We can look at the last 5 games, and we can see that her average shot attempts are 6.2 attempps. So you're really just playing the numbers. This is what I did with Marina Mabry as well. It also helps that the Aces give up the second most above the break 3s. So you can see if 3-pointers made allowed, the Aces, they give up the 3rd most here. But they just don't do a really good job against the above the break 3, which is why I wanted to go find and target this. I considered Nia Coffey. I considered Olivia Miles. The problem with both of those guards, in my opinion, is that, Nia Coffey not guard, she'll forward, but the problem with both of those for me is that they don't get enough value. Like Kayla McBride is shooting 6.2. If I just need her to hit 2, I think she can hit 2. And I think she can also hit 3. So Kayla McBride, a lot of spot tomorrow against this Aces defense, with the rest advantage here, I think is a really good play. Don't really like minus 146, but McBride should be able to get busy tomorrow. So those are my thoughts. As far as the full game goes, it's probably be the one that I watch. I can't lay 4.5 with the Aces though. Again, I can't lay any points against the against this Mystics team right now. Against this Lynx team, they're just hooping right now. So for me, it'll be Mystics or not. I keep saying Mystics. It'll be Minnesota Lynx or nothing in this spot, even on the road. The rest advantage I think helps a lot too. So that's my quick thoughts here. Next game, last one is Dallas and Portland, and this is the one that we absolutely have to wait for. So, oh no, it's actually 2 more games. I'm tripping. Did I make graphics for the others? Let's see. I know I talked about it in my mind, and I wrote my notes down. Yeah, I got it on here. Okay, so 2 more games. The next one is Dallas and Portland. 6.5 was the opener, and it's down to 5.5 now. And large part of that is due Paige Becker. She's listed as questionable with an ankle injury, and that's everything in this game. Odyssey Sims is out, of course, after being wheelchaired off a couple games ago, and then Carla Late is also listed as probable with a quad injury. So I really just kind of feel like this line set exactly where it should be. You can see the net rating on Dallas is a +6, and the Portland Fire -6. So Dallas lands 6 on the road, not the most favorable spot. Portland coming off, actually coming off 4 straight losses. They haven't won in June yet. They haven't won or covered in June yet. They've lost 4 in a row. Haven't covered any of them. Second straight home game. Just 3-6 ATS at home. And Dallas has been pretty good. They're 4-2 both straight up and against the spread on the road. They've covered 7 of their last 10. They've won 5 of their last 6. Nice bounce back win against Phoenix the other day after losing to Minnesota in that game before. But you really need to know what's going on with Paige in order to get involved. This is the first meeting between these two teams, ever, because Portland is the new expansion team. I can't get involved with this game, man, without knowing if Paige is going to play or not. I feel like, I don't even want to speculate whether she's going to play or not. But that changes everything. Dallas is, they've been sneaky in some spots, playing some defense as well. Like, I was looking at the box score and I saw Enrique had 2 points on like 1 for 9 shooting, and I thought to myself, that would never fly. They would never win a game by double digits last season with with Enrique going 1 for 9 and having 2 points. But Paige has been absolutely awesome, so she means everything in the world to to this team and for this game. So easy stay away from me. Let's get to the last game. LA and Phoenix. So dang it, I missed the best of the line here. Phoenix actually opened laying 1.5. Total was at 177. We see flipping favorites to the Sparks actually, getting laying 1.5 now. I think the line is pretty much that way everywhere. And what is there really to talk about? This Sparks team has been, putting it together recently. They're 4-1 straight up on the road. They typically play better. They play their best basketball on the road. They won 2 in a row. Also have the rest advantage here, 2 days to 1. And Phoenix, boy, probably the most, they're the most disappointing team in the league so far this season. Just 4-10 against the number. It's their offense, which is, bottom 5. Their defense, which is bottom 5. They're just 1-4 straight up and against the spread at home. Also just 1-4, against the spread and straight up at home. And just 3-7 ATS in their last 10. They're coming off back-to-back losses against the Golden State Valkyries and the Dallas Wings. Didn't cover any of those games. And now they're also playing their first game back home after 4 straight road games. And then also it's their first game at home in their last 8 games. So like they had second game, I guess, at home in their last 8 games. They've just had a brutal road schedule. I still kind of feel like Phoenix will get it together, eventually. But I think the Sparks are playing better basketball. Sparks won the earlier matchup, so if you want to play the revenge angle, I guess I can kind of understand that. Phoenix gonna have to show me though before I play them, and I'm just kind of upset at myself because I kind of feel like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like, I know that they lost, Satu, and they don't have Sammy Wickham. They desperately need shooters, and Akoto Makani wasn't there at the beginning of the season. She had a really good game against I think it was against Golden State, and then she played terrible. But Kalia Copper has been shooting the ball so poorly this season. Like, they really need her to step up. I can't bet on this Phoenix team, man. I don't really like the Sparks laying points. I really still don't trust their defense. You can see that it's the worst in the WNBA. They let Seattle score in that last game as well, but I can't. Sparks by default, man. Sparks money line. I wouldn't be laying the points with them. I really hate laying points, with teams when they're laying less than a possession on the road. I know Phoenix gonna figure it out eventually, but for my money, could only be Sparks, man. Only be Sparks. All right, I took way longer than I thought I would. Let's get into a quick recap. NBA play, San Antonio first quarter, first half. Let's go back up to the top for the W and go with Indiana, Connecticut. Connecticut plus the 10.5 and over. Indy, Connecticut over 171.5. Let's go 170.5 on FanDuel. I always get the best of the number. Shout out to OzJam. Linked in the description. And Anisha Morrow, very unpopular play, under 11.5 rebounds. That front court is back and intact. Minnesota and Las Vegas. Kayla McBuckets. 1.5 3-point makes, and I would play her to 3 as well. So I'll put slash 3 plus 3-point makes. I think first half over. Minnesota LAS first half over. I don't even know what the number is because it hasn't come out yet, but I do think we see points early in that game, and it's a long list. Dallas, Portland, nothing. I need to know what's gonna happen with Paige, and then LA. This should be Las Vegas, and this should be Los Angeles Sparks. Money line for me tomorrow is what I will be playing, but I don't think the injury reports dropped yet for that game, so we'll see, man. Whatever you guys are betting, of course, I hope you guys cash it. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, showing love, support, resources. Check them out, all linked in the description. Jackson, Outlier, Moneyballer, Eyes Jam, and I'm going to be out of here, man. Y'all have a great Saturday. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Enjoy the games. I'm out.